Hello everyone. Welcome to today's video, where you'll be the judge for the stories we bring for you. Case 1. Am I the bad person for losing it on my BF after he brought up my stepbrother in front of my family? My BF, 30M, and I, 25F, have been together for around a year, and we just moved in together. It has been amazing so far. He treats me very well, and I love him a lot. When I was younger, like 13-15-ish, I went through some pretty heavy abuse stuff with my stepbrother. When my mom and stepdad found out, they were horrified. My stepdad didn't talk to him for a couple of years. He lost a lot of his family and friends, and he wasn't allowed at the house. All of it was a nightmare to deal with, and I think it changed my relationship with them. Stepdad was really great to me, but it is his son, and obviously still loves him. My stepfather didn't want to completely ruin his life, which I totally got, and I didn't want everyone knowing, so we all kept it pretty quiet. My stepfather still has a relationship with his son, but he has never blamed me or anything, and our lives are kept very separate for the most part. My family and I avoid this topic at all costs. My boyfriend knows all of this and knows how it works in my family. This was the third time meeting them, and he hasn't acted like this previously. I know when I told him it bothered him, of course, but was otherwise supportive. It's not like it gives me issues now, so it is very much on the back burner. We had dinner at their house last weekend with them and a few members of the extended family. When we were all sitting around talking, my BF started asking my stepdad really basic questions about stepbrother, like how old, what he does, if he is married, etc. This was already way over the line for me, and I gave him looks, tried to change the subject, and I know he knows what I was trying to communicate. He just didn't care for some reason. He went further and asked if they still have a relationship, if he is a normal person now. He didn't say this, but it felt like he was all, "Wow, that's crazy what happened and you guys suck." My stepfather answered all of his questions and was cool, but was uncomfortable, as was everyone else. When everyone started focusing on other thing, I told my boyfriend I want to leave, said all the goodbyes, and when we got in the car, I kind of freaked out on him. I asked him what the fuck that was and why on earth he would bring that up. He said he was just curious their thoughts, didn't think it would be a big deal, and said these people are going to be his family, and didn't think it mattered. I asked him if he really thought I wanted that image in their minds, and I told him he was a fucking idiot. He told me it was really weird, and he's sorry if he didn't handle it right, but he has never been in this situation before. It escalated when we got home, where he tried to make up, and I rejected him, and told him to give me some space. That really pissed him off, so he broke a glass and slammed the guest room door. Now that it has been a few days, I have a lot of guilt that I got so mad, and am wondering if I was way out of line. I still think he should have respected my wishes, but should not have lost it. Am I crazy here? Let's take a look at some of the members saying. One member said, "Read between the lines, your stepbrother was an S-predator, and your family did nothing about it beyond shunning him for a period of time. You don't mention if you got therapy, and you don't mention if they required he get therapy. You only said that they didn't want to ruin his life, and you didn't want to deal with it all. Your boyfriend was certainly out of line to bring it up, and I'm not thrilled with his reaction, breaking glasses and slamming doors. However, anyone that you have a long-term committed relationship with, that you intend to have children with possibly, is going to have questions about your family's interaction and comfortability with a S-predator." Another user added, "From my perspective, your boyfriend is trying to understand the relationship with your fucked up family. And yes, they are fucked up rug sweepers. You actually said your stepfather didn't blame you or treat you differently, as if you should be grateful for it. Your boyfriend is mad because he is protective of you, but at the same time you need to watch out for any more red flags because his response is concerning. You are not the bad person. He should have respected your wishes. However, you need to reflect more on what happened and work through it, because it is going to hit you hard one day. Probably when you have children and realize what you would do to anyone that hurt them." Someone else stated, "Not the bad person. You need to have a conversation with him to see if he is actually understanding of the dynamic your family has set, or if he finds the situation actually disturbing. Maybe he is uncomfortable with the level of dismissiveness, I will say for lack of better word, in regard to how it was handled, and wanted to get a clear answer before deciding if he wanted to join a family with morals that don't align with his about situations like this. The breaking a glass is a total no. If he can't handle his own aggression, he needs therapy. What do you guys think? Let us have your verdict down in the comments section. Case 2. Am I the bad person for yelling at my boyfriend being late? So my boyfriend and I have been together for months, and I love him very much, but he is always so fucking late. This has been a fact of our relationship for a while, and I've accepted it. I'm a very punctual person, and he isn't. That's fine, but he is often 30 minutes to an hour late every time we meet up. I've started just getting to places 30 minutes late, so I don't have to wait. But last week, he did something so rude. My family asked to meet my boyfriend, so I suggested dinner together. You know, as one does. We got a reservation at a nice restaurant to celebrate the start of the school year, and meet him, of course. So, my family and I sat down for our 7:30 reservation, which my boyfriend triple confirmed with me. He said he will be there. He wasn't there when we sat down, typical. Stupid me for thinking he could be punctual. I reassured my parents, telling them he was a little late sometimes. My parents were not amused. So the waiter comes over, and we are forced to order because they will take our table. We all ordered. My parents were confused, and so was I. He hadn't even texted he was running late or anything. We get our appetizers, and still no sign of him. Long story short, he showed up an hour late. When he showed up, he sat down casually and said, "Sorry, I woke up late." My parents glared at him. I whispered in his ear to get out of the booth, and I went to talk to him outside. I told him how uncomfortable my parents were, and how he had already made somewhat of a bad impression. They wanted to meet him, and he arrived very late. This devolved into an extensive argument outside the restaurant. He said, "What's the big deal? I'm a few minutes late." I told him it wasn't a few minutes, it was an hour. He didn't see the problem, and told me I was being dramatic. I told him I didn't want to put up with this bull. He's done this so many times, but this broke me. He couldn't invest in a watch. He couldn't have set an alarm. He didn't listen to me, and told me that it wasn't his fault that he was late when it was. It was so important to me, and he fucked it up. I asked my parents to get the check, and we left without him. My parents don't like him. They made that clear in the car. I ended up crying all the way home. My boyfriend texted me later and asked me why I was so angry and that I was being an asshole. Was I the asshole for telling him off for being that fucking late? Let's take a look at some remarks made by some users. Someone said, "I wonder if he acts like this in every context. Is he an hour late for job interviews or work, and then think it's no big deal? That his employer is just an asshole? Chances are, he knows he needs to make it on time for that because it's important. Wait, just saw your students. Does he show up an hour late for a final and say it's no big deal? Appointments. Or, if he really can't be on time for anything in any context, and berates you for being upset with this very normal thing in our society. Is he the one for you? He is so incredibly rude, and then calls you an asshole for being upset? Don't saddle yourself with a bum. I'm assuming you're in your 20s, in school, and have a whole bright, beautiful future ahead of you. Don't have this shitty dead weight of a BF who can't make it to a dinner with your parents on time. It'll really ruin your life to be with the wrong partner like this." Another user added, "NTA, frankly, can you accept this as a trait in someone you want as a life partner, or even a temporary squeeze? If you don't like this, you get to leave him behind. If it is, you don't get to yell at him for it. He is telling you he won't catch the airplane for your big trip, pick you up from work when your car breaks, or feel bad for making you wait an hour for him. That will add unnecessary stress to your life. He is telling you who he is. He is telling you he won't change. He is telling you that you will have to put up with this slothful behavior as long as you are with him. It would be a deal breaker for me because I value my time and good manners exist to show respect to others. What a loser. Late people are not going to be aggressive at climbing the career ladder. That is important to me. The dude is either a dud or he is ADHD. Either way, I don't have the patience to excuse that particular negative trait." Someone else remarked, "NTA for yelling at him, but you're an asshole to yourself for staying with him. I've accepted it." No, you haven't, or you wouldn't be upset about this now. He overslept. IMO is just unacceptable. If you're a very punctual person and you stay with him, you can expect this will be your life going forward, and he will always be late for events that are important to you. If you marry him, I bet he'll be late for your own wedding. I'm punctual too, and I wouldn't be able to deal with this kind of disrespectful behavior. It shows he has zero respect for other people's time. And it was meeting your parents' FFS. If he cared about you at all, or his future relationship with your family, he would have gone out of his way to make sure he was on time at least this once. He didn't. Instead, he took it to the extreme of being late for dinner. Very, very bad and accurate impression he gave your parents. Seriously, reconsider dating this one. What do the members of the jury think? Is he the AH in this story? Express your verdict down in the comments section. The top comment will be posted on next week's video. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe. In life, we may run, but we can't hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.